So I'm Eugene Whitlock, Vice Chancellor, HR, General Counsel, and we're here to talk today about sort of what goes on in the district when it comes to discrimination and harassment. Harassment, discrimination, they've been in the news a lot lately. There have been incidents here and at the other campuses, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to come to the campuses and present a little bit of information, a little bit about training about what is discrimination, what is harassment, but also to give the opportunity for all of you to ask questions. Throw out your hypotheticals to me, say, I heard this, or I heard the other thing. How do things really work? I want to thank Academic Senate and Classified Senate for making this happen, helping this get organized, especially to Michelle for ordering the sandwiches. I just wanted to get the cheap old pizza, and she said, no, Eugene, we need a better alternative. So the thank you goes to Michelle for that. But at any point in time as we're going along, if you have questions, feel free to raise your hand and ask the question. You're not really interrupting. I encourage the questions. And I'll have to say at the outset, my vision is not the greatest, so I may not see you raise your hand. I have these glasses that are supposed to help, but it's not working very well. The subject matter that we're talking about is serious. A lot of people here in this room have experienced discrimination or have experienced harassment, and it's unpleasant. And I want to acknowledge that up front because as we go along, I tend to use a lot of humor. Some of the things we'll discuss will cause people to laugh, and I want people to know I don't mean any disrespect by that because I do take these things very seriously. The district takes these things very seriously. But just because somebody next to you laughs or something that strikes you as funny, please don't be offended. And also, please don't feel bad if you laugh because a lot of times we laugh at these things because they are so uncomfortable, and it's just a human response. All right, I'll get started. We'll warm up with a true and false. Can those of you who are hiding in the back see? All right. So true or false? If your intentions are not sexual, your behavior cannot be considered sexual harassment. Anybody say true? You're too afraid to say true now, right? False is correct. If everyone else is okay with someone's behavior, then it cannot be considered harassment. All right. If you do not try to stop the behavior you don't like, then you can't later claim harassment. All right, excellent. Harassment only really matters if it occurs at the workplace or during work hours. Okay. A hostile work environment can exist even if the harassment is not directed at you. Okay. The harassment must be severe or pervasive to violate district policy. How do you guys already know all the answers? When we get to the hypothetical portion at the end, we'll see if you really know. All right, so where does all of this come from? Where do we get the answers to these questions? A lot of it lies in district policy and procedure. And so I wanted to share that with you and so that when somebody's saying, oh, that's harassment or that's discrimination, where does that come from? How do we know that it is? And it's Administrative Procedure 2.25.1. This is the one for harassment. And it says the district is committed to providing an academic and work environment free of unlawful harassment. A lot of times we look at policies and procedures and we say, oh, it's just words on a page. It doesn't really mean anything. This means a lot, and it means a lot to me as well. Oh, and I forgot to introduce Monisha Sim sitting here in the front row. She's the new Director of Policy, Compliance, and Training, and we brought her on board primarily because we need to provide more training. Sometimes people end up doing things by mistake that they didn't know they shouldn't have done. And that falls on us because maybe we haven't provided enough opportunities for you to get training so that hey, this is what I can do, this is what I shouldn't do. And so Monisha is gonna really take the lead on making sure we provide more training to all of you, not only on things about discrimination, harassment, but anything that sort of affects your life here at work. So these words mean a lot. Harassment based on race, religious creed, and it goes through a long list of things, special categories or protected status is what we call those. You can't harass somebody for a reason like that. Now, you could just harass somebody because you're mean, and that maybe falls under bullying or something else. It's still inappropriate, but it's not necessarily harassment as it is defined here in this district procedure. Non-discrimination. So we provide equal employment opportunities to all applicants and employees regardless of national origin, religious creed, and you see the same long list. So when somebody says they're discriminating against me, they're discriminating against you because of one of these reasons here. Now, if somebody is just treating you differently because they do not like you, that's not discrimination as it's defined here. That's just they don't like you and they're treating you differently, which again isn't okay, but it's not necessarily what we think about when we talk about discrimination. So forms of harassment. So harassment can take shape in many different forms. The most common that we see is verbal harassment. So the obvious are the jokes, right? I'm going to make a racial slur or a sexual joke